Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy, thy will be done. I want to speak to the listeners about different personalities. And the way this came up was that I had an excellent candidate who is interviewing for a vice president of a sales position, and he's a real driver guy, real aggressive, real assertive, very polished, and just really good. But he goes into interview in the final interview with a very analytical CEO, and he didn't really address the CEO the way he should have as an analytical. He did okay, but he didn't realize that an analytical CEO is looking for numbers, is looking for statistics, is looking for analytical type of stuff. Had another candidate that went in and interviewed with the same CEO, and he took in all kinds of reports, statistics, all kinds of proof that from an analytical point of view, that he was really successful at what he did. The first candidate just knew he was successful and couldn't really remember his numbers from a few years ago. His attitude was, why do you need that kind of stuff? Look, I've been successful. Look at my track record. Whereas the second guy was able to say, here's what I did 5 years ago. Here's what I did 4 years ago. Here's what I did 3 years ago. And he was able to give statistical reports. And it made me think that in this day where everybody is having all kinds of people interviewing everybody just to make sure they're not going to make a mistake, that you need to take into account the kind of personalities that you're going to deal with. Now, I know this sounds pretty basic, but there are 4 basic types of personalities: drivers, analyticals, amiables, and expressives. Analyticals are your type of people in business that look at numbers. They're mathematicians, they're engineers, they're accountants, they're controllers, chemists, anybody that where their life revolves around numbers. Drivers are usually leaders, pretty aggressive people, ex-military officers, sales managers, oftentimes CEOs, plant managers, anybody that just is a pusher and a driver. Amiables are people that are in some kind of sales, very many times, tangible sales, customer support, secretaries, a lot of administrative type of people, politicians, training type of people. They build relationships with people. They're friends. They like to be liked. They really enjoy being part of everything, and they'll never make enemies with anybody. Expressive types of people are the dreamers, the marketing people of the world. They like to be with people. They make quick decisions. They're risk takers. They focus on generalities, not very time-oriented, very forgetful type of people oftentimes. Sometimes they're pretty aggressive salespeople. Actors, comedians, intangible sales, very creative people in marketing, maybe marketing services, customer services. They're just real expressive types of people. There are not that many of them out there in business, but you got to know when there are. The analytical people are trusting and patient, fairly non-assertive, often very easygoing, and even-paced types of people. The drivers, you know them when you meet them. They're rather distrusting, very assertive, very impatient, very energetic, have external recognition, very impulsive and pretty fast-paced. Here's the point. If you're a driver in an interviewing situation and you're interviewing with an amiable, you need to be real darn careful. Because if you go in and compete like a driver and come across real aggressively, you're going to offend those people. If you're a driver and you're interviewing with an analytical, like the example that I gave, you better be ready to give numbers, figures, all kinds of things that prove you are really good. The first candidate in this situation, just his attitude was, I'm good. And you know I'm good. You know I'm good because I'm good. Just I'm good. I mean, my track record's good. I don't really know what my track record is, but it's good. If you're an analytical interviewing with a driver, you can't just go in with a whole bunch of statistics and say, well, here's proof of it. You got to go in with the idea that you got to be more forceful and you got to be a little more aggressive. And likewise, if you're analytical interviewing with an expressive, they don't want to hear all of your analytics. They want to hear how warm you are and friendly you are. So the point is that when you go into an interviewing situation, you need to be aware of the kind of people that you're going to interview with. And you need to augment your interviewing style with the kind of people that you're going to talk to. The best way to do this is to talk to the people that you got the original interview with and say, tell me what the next interviewer is like. Are they going to be analytical? Are they going to be a driver? Are they going to be amiable? I need to know so I can augment my interviewing style with them. If you do that, and you don't have to change it a lot, but if you change it up enough, like the second candidate did in our example, and he went in with a lot of analytical proof that he was successful at what he did, you're going to be fine. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashara with the Job Search Solution.